So once you have your new ViewBoard, you're going to want to configure the settings. First things first, this up here is the default title. You can change this. Simply do a long press and you're going to get this launcher message notification. You can go in here and change the title or the subtitle. If this is something you want to lock so others can't change it, you can also set a password. Press confirm when you're finished. These are the default apps on the ViewBoard that show up, so you'll see Chromium and folders. You can rearrange these. So for example, if I don't want folders here, just touch it for a couple seconds and drag it to the trash can. If you want to add other apps into this, touch the down arrow and scroll to a specific app, touch and hold, and drag it up to your shortcuts menu. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to configure the Wi-Fi. So we can do that by clicking on the Wi-Fi icon in the bottom left corner, or we'll touch the down arrow to open our menu and we'll go to the settings. We'll start here at Wi-Fi. And you'll see here we need to turn it on and then select the network and configure it. Let's go back and we can go down to things like display. You can see here we can change our wallpaper if we would like to. Or if we go to preferences, one of my favorite things to turn off are the touch sound settings. So we can disable those. We'll go back and let's go to startup and shutdown. Now this is an important setting because we can select the startup input. As an example, if you need it to boot to HDMI 1 every time the board turns on, you can configure that. Maybe you have a built-in PC and you want it to go to the PC by default every time the board turns on, select PC. Standby mode we'll leave alone. Energy Star mode is important though. Energy Star mode will turn the board off after an hour of no touch input, meaning physical contact with the board. This means that if you're watching a movie on the board and that movie goes for an hour and 2 minutes, the board will turn off automatically because there was no touch input. So you can enable or disable that mode. You can also configure a power schedule. So you'll see at the bottom, we can add a schedule to make the board turn on or turn off at a specific time. Let's go back and we'll go to input source. We can do a couple things here like rename our inputs. So sometimes it's easier to name an input instead of HDMI 1, call it teacher computer. But if we go into the source menu, you'll see here that there's this energy saving mode that's set to 5 minutes default. What energy saving mode is that when the board detects no signal, it will put the board to sleep or turn it off. So if a teacher unplugs their computer or does something like that, after 5 minutes, the board will turn off. You can change that length up to 60 minutes or just turn it off completely. So now that we have all these settings configured, we're probably going to want to lock the system so that no one can access or change the settings. The way that we do this is we actually go to our preferences menu and we select boot mode and advanced settings. The first time you select this, it's going to ask you to create a PIN. Make sure you remember that because if you forget your PIN, you're going to have to reset the board. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the password here that I've already configured. And you'll see here that there is a way to ViewBoard Settings access password. What this does is it totally locks all the settings on the ViewBoard. So if I enable this and we go back to our home page and then we try to access the settings, you'll see here that I'm prompted to enter that password. It just keeps people from messing with the board or changing settings. Once you enter the correct password, hit confirm, and then it will allow you into the settings menu. Now you've done all this work, you've configured the board. How do we easily replicate it? How do we easily clone this to another board? So what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a USB flash drive like this one here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to System, and you'll see this option called Clone to USB. Now, you can take the USB and insert it into the USB ports on the front, or we can put it on the USB port on the side of the board. Now, when you insert your flash drive, this notification will pop up to open folders. Just hit Cancel and choose the Clone to USB option. Make sure you select all the copy from options. Touch here and give it a title. We'll call this one Test. And then make sure you choose your USB flash drive. Press Confirm. You'll see the clone notification at the bottom. And what this means is that this flash drive is now ready for me to go to other boards and immediately clone all those settings. So what happens is I take my flash drive, go to your new board, plug it in. You're gonna get that notification that says, do you wanna open folders? Say okay. Go to your USB. You'll see here, there's that test.settings file that I created. Give it a double tap to open it. It'll ask you if you want to confirm restoring settings, say yes. And what it's going to do is it's going to copy the settings, turn off the board, restart it, and load everything to their defaults. Now, a couple quick notes. The wallpaper will not copy, nor will the Wi-Fi settings, but everything else we configured will copy over to your new board.